It was just another normal Friday afternoon in March, until the ground began to shake. At first, people thought it was a tremor, but within seconds, the shaking turned violent. Windows shattered, alarms blared, and the earth itself roared. This was not an ordinary earthquake. It was one of the most powerful ever recorded on this planet. A magnitude 9.1 megaquake that shook Japan to its core and changed the entire world. The time was 2:46 p.m. The epicenter, off Japan's northeastern coast, along the dangerous boundary of the Pacific Ring of Fire, the world's most active seismic zone. What followed was chaos. The ground didn't stop shaking for 6 full minutes. 6 minutes may not sound like much, but during an earthquake, that's an eternity. Entire cities swayed, bridges buckled, and highways cracked open. And deep beneath the ocean, something catastrophic was unleashed. The seabed had been thrust upward by more than 160 feet, displacing billions of tons of water in an instant. Moments later, the ocean began to pull back, a chilling sign of what was coming. Then it struck. A tsunami, towering over coastal defenses, roared toward shore at more than 500 miles per hour. In some places, the waves reached 133 feet high, the height of a 13-story building. Walls of water swept inland, devouring everything in their path. Entire towns disappeared in minutes. The quake unleashed unimaginable energy, roughly 600 million times the force of the Hiroshima bomb. The shock waves were so immense they rippled through the entire planet. Japan's main island, Honshu, physically moved 8 feet eastward. Let that sink in. An entire landmass shifted by pure geologic force. And the impact didn't stop there. The earthquake tilted the Earth's axis by about 10 to 25 centimeters, causing the planet to spin slightly faster. We literally lost a fraction of a second from our days. Permanently. Scientists studying the event were stunned. It wasn't just a regional disaster, it was a planetary event. For the first time, they had data proving that a single earthquake could physically alter the rotation of the Earth. The 2011 Tohoku earthquake now ranks as one of the strongest ever recorded, joining a short list of quakes that shook the world both physically and psychologically. But here's where it gets even more alarming. This wasn't an isolated event. It was part of a much bigger story. A warning from the Ring of Fire itself. Stretching from the coasts of South America through Japan all the way to Alaska and down to New Zealand, the Ring of Fire is Earth's most volatile region. Nearly 90% of the planet's earthquakes occur here, and the Tohoku quake showed just how much power this zone can unleash when deep tectonic stress finally snaps. But what many don't realize is that a nearly identical setup exists off the west coast of North America. It's called the Cascadia Subduction Zone, a fault line capable of producing a quake as strong or even stronger than the one that devastated Japan. It stretches from northern California through Oregon and Washington all the way to Canada's Vancouver Island. And scientists warn it's locked, loaded, and overdue. Research has found that Cascadia ruptures roughly every 300 to 500 years. The last one struck in 1700, and it sent a massive tsunami across the Pacific that was recorded in Japan. That was 325 years ago. Do the math. The clock is ticking. Even more concerning, recent studies suggest a terrifying possibility that the Cascadia Fault and the San Andreas Fault could trigger simultaneously, a chain reaction capable of catastrophic destruction from California to British Columbia. If that happens, it won't just be the big one. It'll be an event on the same scale or even worse than the Tohoku quake. Imagine it. Within seconds, the shaking begins. Cities like Portland, Seattle, and San Francisco feel the ground heave beneath them. Power grids fail, bridges twist and collapse, and along the coast, the ocean draws back, a deadly silence before the surge. Minutes later, a wall of water races toward land at jet speed. There will be no time to evacuate. Entire coastal regions could be wiped out. Experts say if Cascadia fully ruptures, it could be America's most destructive natural disaster in history. The Tohoku quake serves as a warning of what this would look like. 6 minutes of ground motion followed by waves that travel faster than planes. Infrastructure gone, communications cut, emergency systems overwhelmed, and millions left without power, food, or water. When we talk about the big one, this is what scientists mean, an event powerful enough to reshape coastlines and tilt the planet itself. Japan's resilience and engineering saved countless lives in 2011, but even then, the scale was beyond imagination. If a similar event struck the West Coast today, experts say recovery could take decades. But here's the truth. Earthquakes like this don't just happen. They build up over centuries, pressure mounting mile by mile, until one day it breaks free. That pressure is building right now beneath our feet, and we may not be ready for what comes next. The 2011 Tohoku quake was a reminder that our planet is alive, constantly shifting, constantly changing. It can rewrite the map in minutes, and scientists fear that another shift like this is inevitable. The Pacific Ring of Fire is restless again. We're seeing unusual seismic clusters near Alaska, the Philippines, and off the coast of Chile. These could be warning signs, small releases before something far larger. Because when the tectonic plates lock, the energy doesn't disappear. It waits. And when it finally breaks, the world shakes. So when you hear experts talk about the next big one, remember this. The last one tilted the planet. The next could rewrite history. If you think what happened in 2011 was the end of the story, think again. Because beneath the Pacific, the clock is still ticking, and somewhere, the next rupture is already preparing to strike. Stay alert. Stay ready. And remember, when the Earth decides to move, there's no stopping it.